Welcome to The Explainer. If you're trying to win with AI, you might think it's all about having the flashiest, most powerful tech. But today, we're going to explore why the real competitive edge, well, it isn't the technology you buy, it's the leadership you build.
So let's just start with this core idea that really turns common wisdom on its head. The biggest thing holding companies back, it's not the tech, it's not the data, it's leadership. You have to ask, are the people at the very top truly equipped to lead in this completely new era?
And look, the data really backs this up. Most companies, they feel pretty good about their tech and their data. But leadership readiness, it's way, way behind. It's almost like having a brand new race car in the garage, but nobody really knows how to drive it. So that brings us to the really crucial question. If the tech is ready, why isn't the leadership? I mean, what's causing this huge gap to appear right now with such urgency? Okay, let's dig into it.
Well, the answer is that the ground has literally shifted beneath our feet. We are in the middle of a revolution in how software itself is made, and you know what? The old rulebook for management just doesn't apply anymore. To really get this shift, you've got to see the evolution. We started with Software 1.0, writing every single line of code. Then came Software 2.0, where we train models. But now we're in Software 3.0, where we can literally program computers just by talking to them in plain English. It's incredible. Just stop and think about what this really means for a second. The skill you need has totally changed. It's not about mastering complex code anymore. It's about being able to clearly describe what you want. The barrier to entry for creating software, it's basically collapsed.
This new way of working even has a name, vibe coding. And it is a revolution, no question. It means that anyone with deep expertise in their field, a lawyer, a doctor, a marketer, can now build their own software. The focus isn't on syntax, it's all about imagination.
And this is exactly why the goal isn't to replace people, it's to augment them. I just love this Iron Man suit philosophy. You're not building a robot to do a job, you're building a suit that makes your team unbelievably more powerful. So when the very nature of how we work changes this dramatically, our leadership structures have to change too. The old, siloed departments, they just can't keep up with this new speed. And that brings us to the proposed solution, something called the AI Leadership Pod. Now, this isn't just about hiring one head of AI and calling it a day. Now, this is about building an internal innovation engine, a dedicated, cross-functional team whose only job is to drive this transformation. A really successful pod is like a mini version of the company itself. It has to bring together people from product, engineering, operations, legal, and risk. And maybe most importantly, you need deep sector experts, the people who actually understand the real-world business problems you're trying to solve. The entire pod is driven by this one massive question. They aren't there to just make small tweaks. Their whole mandate is to ask, what if we could rebuild this entire business from the ground up, with AI at its absolute core?
Okay, so that sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually build one of these pods inside your own organization? Well, it turns out the model kind of evolves as your company grows and gets more mature.
The playbook for this actually comes right out of the startup world. You can think about the pod's growth just like startup funding stages. You start small, at a pre-seed stage, just focused on proving a concept. Then, just like a growing company, it scales its focus to product market fit, and eventually to enterprise-level growth and governance. And of course, as the pod evolves, the team itself changes. You start really lean, maybe just a tech lead and a domain expert. But as you scale, you start bringing in engineers, business liaisons, and eventually these absolutely critical roles like an AI ethics officer and regulatory leads to make sure you grow responsibly.
Now, a new structure, like the pod, it can't just exist in a vacuum. It demands a fundamentally different mindset, especially from the most senior leaders in the entire company. This new approach completely flips how you attract top talent. I mean, forget writing those long, boring job descriptions listing a million requirements. That just doesn't work anymore.
And here's why. The best AI leaders, they're not looking for a role, they're looking for a mission. They want to align with a vision. So if you want to attract them, you have to be really loud and clear about your biggest, most ambitious goals.
So what does all this mean for you as a leader? Well, first, you've got to incubate your internal talent. Don't just sit around waiting to hire someone. But maybe the most important thing, you have to get AI fluent yourself. Use the tools, prompt, experiment. Your credibility now comes from leading with real clarity and hands-on experience, not just from delegating. Because the goal here, it's not some small incremental improvement. This isn't about a 10% boost in efficiency.
The real goal is to build AI-first teams that can literally output 100 times more. That is the scale of the opportunity in front of us.
So we'll end with this thought. As a leader, are you building a team that's just using AI, or are you building one that is being fundamentally rebuilt by it? The difference is subtle, but it's profound, and it is absolutely going to define the winning organizations of the next decade.